What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of On the Mic with Michael Flix. Very happy to be back. I got one of my favorite coaches and one of the best coaches in San Diego. My guy Marshawn Cherry, coach of the Mission Bay Bucs. How you doing today, bro?
Hey, Mike. Thank you. I'm doing real well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, you're somebody that's like I said to Jello, you're somebody that always keeps a really, really good team around San Diego, man. And sometimes people are like, how is Marshawn always doing that? So you're definitely somebody that I wanted to have on the show for sure, man. What have you been up to this summer? How's your summer been?
It's been busy between club and then just our guys at Mission Bay. It's been busy, but I like that. So like to stay busy, like to stay in the gym. So it's been good.
I hear you. What's kind of the latest with the team right now?
We're building. We have a young team. We're looking forward to next year, and we have guys that have to prove themselves, and they're looking forward to the opportunity.
I hear you. I want to, of course, we're going to talk about all your coaching and everything, but I want to talk about like kind of everything involved with you, like kind of like your whole life in basketball and everything. One big reason being is because when I interviewed Coach Davion, he was like, you know who you should talk to is Marshawn. Marshawn used to be a nice little point guard back in the day. Marshawn used to really have game. So I definitely want to talk to you about any playing that you did and all of that. So kind of talk to me about like your playing career growing up.
I grew up with a bunch of very good players. We had guys like Deshaun DeGrade. Davion was a very good player back in his day. Anthony Tucker over at Modern Day could hoop. Antoine. We came up in like the golden era of San Diego basketball. There's a lot of dudes that can hoop. That's the time where you go play pickup at every part of the city. Like we go play at Paradise Hills on Sunday. Saturday was Encanto. What was it? I think it was Tuesday was Allied Gardens. Thursdays was San Marcos. So you get your five and you go hoop at different gyms, and if you lost, you was off for the whole day. So you want to make sure you was out there hooping. But that's when it was fun. That's when everybody was trying to compete, and it was good basketball back then. So
I hear you, man. See, I was just at a pickup run that Billy White, who went to San Diego State.
No Billy.
He put together a run, and I was there filming yesterday. And me and some of the guys that were there, we were talking. One guy asked me, he was like, "Flix, where the runs at? I know you know where all the runs are at." And I was like, "I used to when guys used to run," and that kind of got us all talking about how, like, in my opinion, maybe I don't know because I'm not as connected, but it seems like hoopers and basketball players today don't do the pickup ball and the open run thing as much as like guys before did. Why do you think that is?
It's the era of trainers. I think the kids nowadays are more or less they have their trainers, they go train, they get their work in individually now. In our time, we didn't have money to go to trainers. We would go play pickup. That was our trainer, trying to get on the center court at Muni. And trying to stay on the court was how we trained, going against the old school heads and trying to stay on the court with them, getting beat up a little bit, but that's how we trained to play. We didn't have that money to do all these trainers. Nothing against them. They do a great job, but it's a different era. So they're pickup games. You go to a gym now, the gym be wide open, empty. You get shots up all you want to. Nobody's in there hooping no more. So, yeah.
Which one, I guess it's kind of, maybe it's just a matter of opinion, but which kind of like approach do you think is better?
They both suit their needs. Like, our time was more or less, it toughened us up. Playing against the old school guys, getting beat up. It was a different game back then. Like, now the game is more finesse, more skill. Back then it was toughness and being able to grind stuff out. So I think during our time it served its purpose, but with the way the game is now, with everybody having to have their moves and their go-tos and just being able to, all the little things they do now, they're a lot more skilled. But we were a lot tougher back then, I would say. So it's a different era.
I hear you. Now, you went to Patrick Henry, right?
Correct.
How you guys' team pretty good when you played there?
Patrick Henry was pretty good. I didn't play. I didn't have grades. That's why I'm so big on grades now with my players, is that I didn't have grades. I would sneak in the gym during tryouts, and I get to the first day, and then coach would, back then I think it was Coach Ziegenfuss was the head coach. For a while, he had the all-time record of wins in San Diego.
Oh, wow. And
he'd catch me in the gym. Cherry, get out the gym. You know you're not eligible. So every year I get kicked out the gym, second day of tryouts, for not having grades. So I tell my guys all the time is, got to stem the grades. You can't play without your grades. So I am a first-hand person of knowing that you got to have the grades or you don't get to play. So
I hear you. Now, what was it for you? Were you just like kind of like you didn't care about homework, or was like school difficult for you, or what was it?
It wasn't difficult. It was trying to be cool, trying to hang out, trying to just not do my work, just trying to hang out and be funny. I was like the class clown, like to always joke around a little bit and have fun, and so that would get me in trouble. It wasn't that I couldn't do the work, it was just I was the clown. So as I got in 12th grade, realized that, hey, I think I want to walk, and my mom and dad were going to have it, so I had to get my act together. I think I had to do night school a couple sessions, and everything, but I was able to walk, and then that's where I really learned that you got to make sure you get on your grades because it's no fun having to do all that extra stuff while everybody else is having fun. So I had to get my stuff together. So
absolutely, I'm kind of right there with you, man. I think my sophomore year and my junior year, I made grades to try out to play like the first half of the season. I think my sophomore and my junior year, I ended up having to leave the basketball team due to my grades. But my senior year is when I got it together, stayed the whole football season, the whole basketball season. But yeah, I was one of those kids as well. So go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say that was my issue. So it's like you got to stay on the grades. Grades come first. I tell guys you can't be a student athlete without being a student. So.
So did you play any college ball?
I was going to play at Grossmont. Went to Grossmont. The coach had actually recruited me to play there to be his two guard, even though I'm kind of short, but I can shoot the crap out the ball.
Okay.
So I was going to be the two guard. Broke my ankle going into tryouts, and then the next year the coach retired. Came back thinking he was going to be there. He wasn't there. That's when I decided, hey, I guess I'm not supposed to play. So I started kind of focusing on coaching and started volunteer coaching for the city of San Diego at the rec, at Encanto Recreation Center. So that's where I started my coaching career.
Okay, if you don't mind me asking, what year was that?
Ooh, that was a while ago. I can't even think of the exact year. It was probably, I graduated in 93. So I'd have to say it's about 95 to 96 years, right? Probably about 95, 96 was when I started volunteer coaching in Encanto.
Got you. Now let me ask you this: you're someone who started, like you said, in rec ball, and you made your way up to being a very, very successful, high school coach, coaching the Open Division from season to season.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You hear from time to time. I don't put much into it, but you do hear from time to time some of the trainers and coaches talking about players that didn't play or that didn't play at a high level.
Right.
And obviously, you're someone who's been able to be successful, and you didn't necessarily play at a high level. What do you kind of say to people that have that opinion?
I believe that if you put in your work, you study, you're a student of the game, it doesn't matter how high you played. It's a matter of your work that you put in, your due diligence, and just the love of the game. There's a lot of guys that didn't play at a high level that can coach. There's a lot of guys that played at a high level that can't coach.
True.
So it's the person. It all depends on the coach. Like, you got some guys that work their butts off and they're not very good players because they don't work on the right things. I mean, it's anything in life is you could want it, but you might not be very good at it. So I think I was one that was, like I said, I put in a lot of time and effort, watched a lot of film, talked to a lot of people, had some really good mentors, and you learn from it and you just grow. So.
Hey. So you get to the rec center around like 95, 96. How soon were you able to start coaching start coaching high school basketball? Or what was the next step after the rec center?
So rec center, I won a bunch of little citywide championships, quite a few actually. Nice. At every level, from 10 under all the way to 16 under. And then I decided, let's try and get a club going. So I actually started through rec centers at citywides. My teams would win, so I would be watching other teams and invite kids to come play. Let's do some leagues. So back then, that's when the leagues the leagues were really good here in San Diego. So we put a team together and plan the leagues, win those, and then what we do is we'd say, okay, let's get together and get an all-star team and go to Vegas or something. So that's kind of how we got started with the club stuff. And originally we were the Encanto. We weren't the Bulls originally. We were the Ugly Ball. It was Encanto Ugly Ball.
I think I remember hearing that.
My point guard on that team was Jacques. What's Jacques? Damn, I'm trying to remember. Is it Jacques Lindsay, I believe? But he does uniforms and everything now.
Oh, okay.
Real good dude. He's involved in the community. His parents ran the Lady Bulls.
Okay.
And I think they still do. Coach Reg is still up there doing Lady Bulls, and so that's when we kind of shifted from Ugly Ball and became the Encanto Bulls. So they had the Lady Bulls, we were the Bulls. We did that for a while. I ended up getting transferred over to Skyline Rec, and we became the Skyline Black Barons. Same thing, started having the clubs and traveling and stuff, and then I ended up, as we grew a little bit, started winning up there at those leagues. I started getting some players from North County and from around, so the Black Barons didn't really stick too well. And one of my parents was a guy named Ken Lowenthal, real good guy, really colorful guy out of Poway. Two really good sons, Todd Lowenthal and Brett Lowenthal. They played at Poway. And Ken was like, hey, hey baby, he was big time Dick Vitale, Jimmy V type dude. So hey baby, you you need to switch the name up. You got to go big time. You know, we have SCA over here. You need to be SDA. And I was like, you know, that does sound pretty good. He said, yeah, you got to represent the whole city. You got all these kids, so you go big time. So, you know, we went from, the Black Bears to SDA, and it stuck, and it started really rolling. I mean, we've had some really good players over the years. So.
Absolutely. You guys have, from the moment I heard about, actually, my first time hearing about SDA was actually because I started off in Escondido. And so the first person that I heard about SDA from was Kalen Thomas. Kalen Thomas. He went to Escondido. He ended up graduating from Orange Glen. Won a championship at Orange Glen his senior year. And graduated. He speaks very, very highly of you, man. He loves you to death, man.
Still talk to him. I talked to Kalen probably about 2 days ago. He messaged me, and we were talking about some of the old days, some of the guys he came up under and the teams he's played for. That kid could play. I remember the first time I saw him playing was at AIU. He's playing for, I forget the club he's playing for, but it was another team in the tournament. He was playing for them, and he watched our team play, and afterwards he came over and talked to me a little bit. So I said, well, where's your parents at? Talked to his mom and dad, and he ended up coming to practice the next week and joined our team, and he could play. I mean, his issue was just he loved basketball. He just had a little bit of a temper. It seems like I get all the kids that have a little edge to them. I mean, God has blessed me with every kid with an edge. And, I mean, it's funny because everybody talks about my personality, but I think I had to have my personality to deal with the kids that I had because they had personality. Because if I wasn't like I am, then they would run you over. And a lot of parents actually bought their kids to me because they felt that I would be one of the only coaches that could kind of connect with them or keep them, I don't want to say in check or in line, you know what I mean, but could kind of control them or keep
you can get through to them.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you know, I am a loud coach at times, but it's funny. I tell people, if you listen to what I'm saying, or you take the time, you'll see that I'm not just yelling. I'm actually helping my players with instructions or directing them, and I'm loud, but also I've taken on the demeanor that I'm not a big guy. So I've got to have a presence, and I have a big voice. So I mean, I have no problem using it.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're definitely You're definitely loud. You're definitely loud. But it's like you said, if you're listening or if you know the game, number one, then you know it's not just random screaming. Right. But then also, if you don't know the game, if you listen, you're like, no, it's instruction. It's funny. My coach, I won't really say his name. He got into some crazy stuff.
Okay.
But he was really, really loud. And I'm someone I never really, even though I've had all my coaches have always been loud my entire life. I'm 33, so I'm from that era where the coaches were always loud. But for whatever reason, my dad was loud, you know what I'm saying? But I never really took to that. I didn't really make me crumble, but that wasn't really the style that got through to me really. Right. You know, and I never forget my senior year, our coaches yelling every game nonstop. And I remember it was either a halftime or I don't know what it was, but it was a breakage in play. And he was like, guys, I'm not yelling because I'm angry. I'm yelling because you guys need to hear me. I'm just trying to get you guys to hear me. The game is going on. There's a lot going on, and I need my voice to break. I need you to hear me. And I don't know why, for me, that it never registered to me. For me, whenever someone's yelling, it's oh, I'm in trouble or I did something wrong. But I don't know why that never clicked. And when he said that, it was oh, he just wants me to hear him.
Right.
And after that, I never really. It was always, what is he saying, not how is he saying it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's why I tell my guys is I'm just trying to help you guys out there. And I'm loud because we're in a loud gym. We usually have a packed house where we're playing, and it's loud, and, you know, the environment is hostile if we're playing at a Saints or a Cathedral or something. So I want to make sure you can hear me. And so they understand that. I think they do. It's the outside looking in that doesn't really understand it, but my thing is I want to just make sure they understand me and that we're all on the same page. So.
Absolutely. So SDA came before coaching high school basketball?
Yes. SDA is going on over 20 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
If I had some really good coaches with me, some of the top guys in San Diego were in our program. We've been blessed to have good players for the longevity of the program, and, you know, it's been good. I mean, we've helped a lot of kids get to college, and so that's the main point of everything. So. Absolutely. How long were you coaching doing your SDA travel thing before you got the opportunity to coach high school basketball? That's a good question. Me doing the club ball actually helped me back from getting a lot of jobs in high school.
Really?
I interviewed for probably about 5 jobs where the AD told me they were going to hire me, and then they didn't because of the old CIF regime, not the ones that just left, but a few years back, told them they couldn't hire me because I was the face of club basketball, and it wouldn't be fair if I got a job because kids would try to come play for me because of who I am. And I was like, well, that's not fair. If I'm good at what I'm doing, I don't deserve a job.
That's the whole point of being good at what you do.
And that's what I thought. But no, it was I had a few jobs where they told me, we hired you, but we were told no. So it almost kind of made me decide not to coach high school basketball. I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to be a high school coach. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many years were you going on interviews before you finally broke through and got a job?
Probably about 3 to 4 years. So yeah.
And Mission Bay was the first?
Mission Bay was the ones that really gave me opportunity, that really, they stood up to CIF and said, this is what we want. The principal at the time really liked me. The head coach was one of my mentors. He was ready to step down. He wanted me to take over. The principal liked me. We did all the interviewing and stuff. And they were like, we want to go with you. So we had to actually go down to CIF, sit down with them. And he's like, this is who I want to hire. But it was after that other regime left.
Gotcha.
And so the new regime was more open to it. When we talked about it, they know, well, you got certain things you can and can't do. And we understood that. So after they said that, okay, well, it's on you if something goes wrong. And, so the principal was like, okay. So they stood up for me, and, I've been there ever since. So.
And what year was that?
My first year was 2000, and I'm trying to think, it was Boogie's sophomore year. Justin had already left. I think it was 2017 was my first year.
Nice.
So yeah, because I'm going on year 7 this coming season. So might have been 2016, 2017. Because 2008, the second year was when we won the Open division. So yeah.
Nice. I don't know why. I mean, I started. I did a little bit more research on you when we scheduled this interview. But I don't know why I felt like I guess because you've been so successful, it feels like you've been there longer than you have.
It's funny because a lot of people tell me that. I was there as an assistant under Coach Kane for a while, and then I've always kind of been in the backgrounds because I've had a lot of players that went there. So I've always been in the stands.
Gotcha.
Like I said, I was an assistant for a while there too, and then I left and did Balboa Prep for a year. I was at Mount Carmel for a couple years. I was at Bishop's for a couple years. And I was also Army Navy for a couple of years. So then I came back to Mission Bay. So,
gotcha. Any desires to coach college or anything, or are you just kind of focused on high school right now?
I love high school basketball. I like being able to help mold the players and into the young men. When they get to college, I think they're already kind of who they're going to be. And they've already kind of made up their mind on how they want to play, who they want to be. So you're more or less kind of, you're not really molding them, you're more or less kind of managing them. And I like to develop players and like to try to teach them how to be good young men and how to carry themselves and how to be successful in life.
I hear you. I'm very curious to speak to a coach about the dynamic of that between coaching kids and coaching adults, because I've never coached adults. I've only coached kids, but when I was working in childcare, I was a supervisor of the after-school programs, and so all my staff obviously were adults.
Right.
And before being a supervisor, I was always really good at my job. So it always like, this is your department, or you get the largest group of kids, or they're going to put me at the biggest center. And so I was used to leading kids and even coaching kids. And after I realized that I was, getting good at my job, I was like, I want to be a supervisor. I need to be a supervisor. And then I finally became one. And for me personally, it was a challenge to go from leading kids to leading adults, like managing different temperaments. This is exactly who this person is, and he's not going to change. You know what I'm saying? It was an adjustment for me. It was something I was like, man, I've wanted this for a few years, and now I got it. I don't know if I can do this, and it definitely was an adjustment for me. So I'm really curious to talk to a coach about what he feels is the difference between coaching kids and adults. And so you say you get to Mission Bay in 2017. You say that was Boogie Ellis' sophomore year.
Sophomore year.
And you guys won it the following year, right?
Correct.
So that's really quick for you, huh?
Had a good group of kids that worked hard. That first year, like I said, we had a lot to prove. I'm big on trying to get guys to understand that you got to earn what you want in life. You got to go out and prove people that who you are and not just talk about it. And I had a good group of guys that really wanted to go out and put a mark out there. They were sophomores the year I got them. And we actually lost like 8 games by buzzer beaters that year. We ended up losing in the semifinal game to Lincoln of the D1 division. Malik, what's Malik's last name? Parsons, played club for us for years, and he shot up, got big, strong, athletic, and I told all the guys, okay, we got to slow down Malik. We slow down Malik, we'll win this game. I think Malik had 40 on us. And we lost at the end on a buzzer beater. Well, we were up, and the ball got stolen, and we ended up losing by like 1 point or whatever. And I don't know who took the picture, but somebody got a really good picture of them celebrating on our court, and our 5 stars were walking on the floor crying. And so I got that picture, I blew it up, and I put it in our locker room right there as you go in and out the door every day to practice. And that next year, when they came in, they was like, "What's that up there for?" I said, "So you remember how you felt last year when we got beat by Lincoln at home in the semifinal game?" I said, "We should never want that feeling again." And they ran with it. Like, I mean, anything I asked them to do, they were doing it. We were at 6 a.m. workouts, lifting weights, we're on the track every day. I mean, they ate it up. They wanted to show people how good they were. And I believe that finishing off that first year, we finished at like number 10 in the county or something like that. And the next year we came in, I think, number 5. And they took it as disrespect, like how we coming in number 5. I said, well, let's just prove them wrong, prove it to them. So, like I said, that next year we ended up winning it all. But they worked their butts off. And they kind of set the tone on our culture at Mission Bay of how tough you got to be, how hard you got to work. And it was led by Boogie and his personality of just wanting to show everybody how good he is. And then his cousin Jay Norton, who I was just talking to earlier today, he came by my house last night. I didn't know they were cousins when Jay came over and started playing for us. Then we had Justin Moore's little brother, Savon. Who else do we have? Big Ronnie, who was our center in the paint. I mean, he was a monster inside. Mike Barcia. Who else do we have? I don't want to leave him out. Andre Scott had moved here from Japan. I mean, nobody knew how good this kid was. Like, I had some stuff fall into my lap. It was like, where are these guys coming from? And they just meshed. Like, every day of practice was a competition. If we're on the track, they're trying to come in first. If we're in the gym, they're going at each other. They had their own little groups of how they wanted to go at each other. And then we had Coach Ray was one of my assistants at the time, and he did a really good job of getting on the court with them and going at them and competing and making them work and just being tough. My other assistant was my cousin Omar, who was at Mayor Mesa the last few years. He's not coaching this year, but he really good young coach as well. And then Daryl Hughes was my assistant also. So had some really good coaches. And then our strength coach, who's been there from day one, is Bryce Calloway. He's also the strength coach at Lincoln High School. Okay. So he does a real good job. So I've been blessed to have really good coaches and good players that come in and just want to work. I mean, like I think Jello said in his interview, everybody's not built to play for me. And I know that. And I've been lucky enough to filter out the ones that aren't built to play for me, and the ones that are prosper, and they just develop and they grow through the hard work. So, and I tell guys, the best thing a kid can tell me is they want to play for me. The second best thing they tell me is they don't want to play for me, because I don't want you here if this is not where you're going to be, because you're not going to give me your best. And my thing is, I'm going to ask for your best every time, because I can't get you to where you want to be if you're not giving me your best. So, because I'm going to give you everything I got. So.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned how everybody was really bought into the 6 a.m. workouts and everything that the team had going on. And you just mentioned Jello, who played for you the last 3 years. He mentioned in his interview that, of course he hasn't played for all the coaches, but he said that you're, if not one of the hardest working coaches in San Diego, how you're at everything, 6 a.m. workouts, the late night stuff, everything. With you having such a respected and a trusted staff that you can lean on, what is it that makes you still show up to everything when you have coaches and staff in place that can do that for you?
I believe you lead by example. I can't tell the kids they should be there at 6 a.m. if I'm not there. I can't tell the kids they should do this if I'm not there. So I tell them, if I'm here, I expect you to be here, because my time is just as valuable as yours. So why would you think you shouldn't have to be here if I'm not here? So I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to be here. When they're in the weight room, I'm in the weight room. When they're on that track, I'm on that track. Because I can't be a hypocrite and tell them to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. So I believe that you lead by example, and that's how you build leaders. So,
absolutely, and you've definitely done that. And again, Jello attributed to his great leadership to something that you kind of instilled in him. So, mad props to you, man. And again, man, I said it in his interview. I definitely wanted first, obviously, to give him the space to say, but also give you the space, because you, like you said, you're one of those coaches that's loud, and people could, get the wrong or just. it's the wrong perception, but just judging the book by its cover, I guess, you know what I'm saying? And just, again, when you step back and really look at it, you're like, no, this is a really great guy, and he's a really great coach.
Well, I appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you mentioned Boogie Ellis and Justin Moore. What's it like? Because, I mean, you don't, those are two players that you don't, you don't get to coach every day or every year. What's it like coaching such talented players and players that, their name grows to such prominence while they're playing for your team?
Those two they're like brothers. They still are. Like, we all hang out, and like tomorrow I'm going to breakfast with Justin before he leaves to go back to Seattle. I'm gonna see Boogie next weekend when we go up and play in LA. We go to dinner every time I go up to LA, or I'll take our guys to watch him play, and he'll go out to dinner with them and just give them just advice or whatever. Like a couple of times he took some kids over to his house and they hung out and he talked to them about basketball. So I mean, the good thing about those guys are, when you say each one teach one, or big brothers, they literally, that's one thing we take our pride in, is that the older guys teach the younger guys. And so, like I said, we've got guys that they're still family. Like, if you got 3 generations of guys that are still like brothers. You have David, I'm getting old. Oh my God, David Travers, who played at La Costa, is like a big brother to Justin. David went to Georgia State, and played for a couple of years, and then we actually went out and visited Georgia State on a visit with Justin, and they offered him while we were out there. And then you got Boogie, who looks up to Justin, who they came up, and I mean, they literally grew up together. I've got so many pictures of these guys all working out when they're young, and so it's just like a big family. The opportunity, like, when you get them, you don't know what they're going to be. You don't know if they're going to really want to work hard, but when you have one that they can look up to and be like, well, that's who I want to be like. David would come down on the train in the mornings in the summer and leave my house at about 9 o'clock, back up on the train to go home, because he'd come work out every day. We get 3 workouts in a day. So you have Justin sitting here watching that, and he's like, okay, that's what I have to do. That's the norm. So he would do it, and then, you look at it, and then Boogie's watching that, so now he wants to do it. And I remember we had a conversation one day, and he told me, well, what do I have to do to be better than Justin and David? I said, well, you just got to keep working. I said, you have great work ethic, you have skill. I said, you just got to keep working. I said, and that kid right there is the epitome of working. I mean, like, used to tell him to take a break. Like, when we go on our dead periods, I get calls from people telling me that Boogie's at the gym when he's supposed to be taking a break. And I'd be like, tell him to go home. But his thought process would be is, if I'm not working, somebody's going to be better than me. And I don't want them to be better than me. And he still to this day has that mindset. Like, I talked to Coach Mobley up there at USC, and he talks about how they have to tell Boogie to go home. They have to tell Boogie to take a break. They have to tell Boogie that he has to rest, to recover. I mean, like, when he first got to Memphis, same thing. He won, like, all the workout awards. He was sending me videos of him kicking everybody's butt. He had already been taking ice baths, because we do that, because that was part of our workout routine, is you're going to take an ice bath after you work out because you go so hard. So the stuff that they already did in college was incorporated to their workouts when they were young. So they already did all this stuff. So when they went to college, they were already ready for it. So they excelled at it. So, and I think that's why they've all been very good players. And like I said, I expect that after this year, Boogie be in the NBA, honestly. I mean, when he was playing with LeBron, it's crazy, because I'm getting calls and texts, and I didn't know that he was on. And then I rushed home and turned it on, and he called me that night when he was driving home. And I said, how'd it feel? He said, it's like the best basketball day of my life. I said, well, I watched it, and I said, you look like you belong out there. He's like, thanks, Coach. But I said, it's because of all the work you've done. You carry yourself that way, that's where you're going to be at. And I honestly believe in a year or so he'll be in the NBA. So.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. And all that work that you've been speaking of and that you've seen, it shows, man. It absolutely shows. I filmed every game of the Drew League last year. I was working there. It wasn't just for me. Yeah, I was there. Yeah, and I was there when he got to play with LeBron. It was really dope when he threw him the alley-oop as well.
No, see, here's the funny part. So I asked him, why didn't you tell me I would have came? He's like, I didn't think I was going to play. He said, because they didn't know LeBron was going to play till that morning, he said, and I guess he said he had surgery on his mouth and had some teeth removed, and so he was going to play. He said when they called him, told him LeBron was going to play and he was playing on his team, he said he took a bunch of pills and sucked it up and rushed to the gym, and he was there to play. Wow. So I was like, he said, yeah, I couldn't pass that one up.
I bet. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of people got that same story. The guy that gave him a little trash talk at the free throw line, he told me one of the guys on his team was in, like, Buffalo or something like that, getting ready to play in the TBT. And he said the team that played against Boogie and LeBron. I think they found out Wednesday that LeBron might play, and he said he called his teammate that was in Buffalo, and his teammate flew home and was like, I gotta be there for that, really, bro. Like, I have to be there.
The lifetime be on the same court LeBron James?
Absolutely.
And get out there and hoop. I mean, the gym looked like it was a madhouse. You were there firsthand, so I was like, Boogie said when he pulled up to the gym, the line was down the street and around the corner to get in. And he knew they weren't getting in. So, but no, that's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. But that's what I was going to say. All the work that he's put in and that he continues to put in, it shows, man. Because like you said, it looks like he belongs. Week after week, he looks like he's the best player on the floor at the Drew League. And the Drew League is full of pros, Division I's. I mean, obviously he plays Division I as well. But more often than not, he looks like the best player on the floor.
He carries himself in that manner.
Absolutely.
And he always has been that way, where he takes a real profession to it. Like, he's groomed, from when he is little, he's groomed himself to want to be an NBA player, to want to be a basketball player. I mean, I remember we used to have talks all the time about where he wanted to play at in college, how he wanted to go to North Carolina, how he wanted to, just the talks we had, and to see it actually transpire. Because I remember we were on the visit to North Carolina, and we were talking, we were standing in the center of the court, and I said, so how's it feel? He's like, didn't we talk about this? I said, yeah, we did. So it's kind of funny when we did that. And then the funny thing was, so we're at Duke, and being North Carolina fans, me and him both fans of North Carolina, so we don't like Duke.
Right.
And so it's actually a very good visit. I mean, I get to eat breakfast at Coach K's house. I'm sitting at his table next to him. We're talking basketball.
Nice.
And so then that last night at dinner, I'm with Coach Shire, I'm with Coach K, and so I said, hey, I got to tell you guys something. He's like, what's up? I said, I hate Duke. He said, what? I said, yeah, we're North Carolina fans. I said, but I'm going to be honest with you. I said, this visit has really changed my mind. I said, I had it all twisted. I was thinking, though, like North Carolina was the young and hip, and Duke was all old and crusty. No, flip it. Duke was like young, hip, had the good young coaches, and Coach K had a lot of energy, where North Carolina's, not saying there's anything wrong with it, it's just more laid back, more chill, and just not as, like, live. So it was a surprise. So, but that was a great visit also, because got to meet Roy Williams, who was my favorite coach of all time, and just getting to hang out with him for the weekend also. So had some great opportunities. So.
What were those conversations like, getting to talk to your favorite coach of all time?
Just picking his brain about his philosophy, how he thinks about stuff. If you've ever played for me, I run a play called North Carolina, Tar Heel. I have a lot of my philosophy is from how North Carolina plays, from the way he coaches. I had a funny story. Went to a coach's clinic in Vegas many years ago, and he was one of the key speakers. So I'm watching him, and as he's leaving to leave the court, I'm standing there to get a picture with him. And so I'm thinking he's going to go under the rope. He goes over the rope, so I was trying to lift it up. He falls over the rope, and he looks at me, and I'm like, oh, crap, I'm sorry. And so he's looking at me all crazy. I said, I'm so sorry. I tried to help him up. He pulls away from me and, like, takes off. I'm like, oh, dang. And then so, like, a week later, I'm in Vegas for a tournament with SDA, and I go to the bathroom, and he's in the bathroom.
Wow.
And he recognizes me. He looks at me. He's like, I'm like, Coach, it was an accident. And he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, thanks. And he leaves the bathroom or whatever. So I was so embarrassed. But then the thing is, so we're on the visit, and I asked him if he remembered, and he's like, that was you? I said, yeah. Well, he said, it's okay now. But he said, for a minute, I thought you were trying to get me, man. So, it was funny, though, because he actually remembered it. So.
That's crazy. What are the odds that he remembers that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I guess it's not very often somebody knocks you down.
That's true.
When you're trying to come off the court and they got a rope around it. So it was something that stood out. So it was kind of funny to me that he remembered it. So, But no, and then like I said, Coach K, just being able to have a conversation with him about basketball and the way he thinks. And it's funny because everybody thinks Coach K is so laid back and mellow. I got to go in the locker room with him during the halftime of a game, and they're up by 30. And he's not laid back and mellow, we'll say. He's very intense. He's very vocal. He just doesn't do it out on the floor. On the floor, he's cool, calm, and collected, but that's when he's sitting there turning red. But if you go in that locker room and there's something he does not like, something might go flying across the room. He took after. He has the Bobby Knight, and he just hides it behind the closed door.
I hear it.
Really great guy, a lot of energy. And I didn't know he cussed as much as he did. He cusses like a seller.
Really?
Yes.
And see, this is why, and not necessarily my show, but this is why I love shows like this and different podcasts where you get stories like that, because I would have never known. Like, I remember watching a show, I forget what show it was, but Jason Tatum, who played for Coach K, was talking about him and just some of the things that Coach K has said to him and different players. And I'm like, Coach K said that? And you just wouldn't like, again, how he presents, you just wouldn't expect him, to be like that. But it sounds like he's got a lot of Coach Marshawn in him. He just doesn't, say, like you said, he's just
much better at hiding than me.
There you go.
But the funny thing is, like, when we were there, that's when Zion and them were there, Reddish, Zion, Reddish, what was the other one? Was the third? Barrett.
There you go.
So, like, Zion's really quiet and goofy.
Mm-hmm.
Barrett's, like, always serious. Reddish was, like, quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Just, like, never talked or whatever. And so being able to watch them work out, like, literally, I think Zion was late to a practice. And so he came in from the track from running because he was late.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach K was like, so you're going to be late again? He's like, no, I'll never be late again, Coach. He's like, okay, because I don't think you want to go run those miles again. He's like, no, I really don't. And it was kind of funny. And so I was like, well, okay, so he gets in them too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he was a couple minutes late to practice, and Coach sent him out to run some miles. But that's a big, imposing dude. Like, we were sitting at the half court watching him practice. As he runs by, you can feel him run by the floor shake.
Mm-hmm.
That's how big and strong he was.
Man.
Crazy. And then, like I said, Reddish, I think every shot he shot was money. And then Barrett's just so serious about the game. He's like never smiled the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was funny getting to see those guys because, now they're all in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, we got to meet them. Zion came, hey, Zion Williams, nice to meet you. Hopefully you're coming here. So we had some good times, some good stories. So
Mm-hmm.
got to do a lot of things through basketball and meet a lot of people. So I've been blessed.
Absolutely. Let's get back into Mission Bay a little bit. Now you're and again I said it when you first sat down, and I said it in the Jello interview. Year after year you put a good team out on the floor, and a few of those years, I guess I can't speak for other people, but I'll speak for me. I'm like, I know you're a great coach. I've mic'd you up. I've been in the locker room with you. I know you're a great coach. But when certain key guys are leaving, you're like, I don't know how this next year is going to look. But then year after year, you always put a good team on the floor. How are you able to consistently keep like a great pool of young talent on in your program?
I believe in the next guy up theory and opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go back to when me and Jello had the conversation about Chris and KJ leaving.
Mm-hmm.
It came out of nowhere. Didn't know what to expect. So I said, I need to talk to Jello to make sure I get his head right and see where he's at, because I'm like, okay, is he going to leave too now?
Mm-hmm.
So I pulled him aside and said, hey, we need to talk. And he's like, what's up? I said, so Chris and KJ are coming back. He's like, what? I said, no. He said, but we're going to win CIFs this year. I said, that was the plan. I said, but why has it got to change? I said, you're still very good. We have good young guys. I said, we just have to work a little harder. I said, Chris and KJ are very talented. We're going to miss them. And they are. I mean, great kids, hardworking. So it was a gut blow that when we found they weren't coming back.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a challenge. I told you, I said, so here's a chance for you to show how good of a leader you are. Let's show all the work you do, because you work your butt off. You have. And I said, so now I need you to be a leader. I need you to step up and lead these guys and show everybody how good a leader you are I know you are. And he ran with it. I mean, he did a great job of pushing the guys.
Absolutely.
And practices, talking to guys, because when he's locked in and he's got his mind set, he's by far one of the best leaders I've had. So he just hates to lose. He'll give you everything he's got. He hates to lose, and he really loves to compete.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got an old school soul about him, about how to play the game. He's tough. He's physical. He don't want to lose, and he don't mind hitting you. So
yeah.
But no, he did a good job of leading the guys. And then, like I said, we had some good young guys. Charlie Hutchinson, who just turned 16 today.
Wow.
Everybody thinks he's older, but he's only 16 years old. He just turned 16. And he's going to have a very good year. He had a solid year last year as he was growing.
I like his game.
He's going to be very good. Great kid, 4.5 GPA, scholar student. Then we have other guys like Gavin Garrard, who always goes under the radar. They're best friends. So it's funny because they've been in our Young Buck program since they were in 5th, 6th grade.
Oh, okay.
So they were like, it's our time. when it's our time to step up. So they ran with it. And then, like I said, we have, this is last year. So I'm trying to think of, Rami stepped up big time. He was a kid that we've had since, that had played from, knew he was coming to Mission Bay since 7th grade. And just when he first got there, he was a defender, shot blocker. And every year he just worked and got better and better. We worked on his jump shot, worked on his ball handling, and he's just a tough sucker too. Him and Jello were both two tough dudes that half the time in practice they're almost fighting each other. And we had another kid that went under the radar, Josh Macapagal, who I think is probably one of the best on-ball defenders in San Diego in the last probably 5 years or so. I mean, he's about 5'7", strong. He can 5'7", get up and grab the rim with two hands. If he could pound the ball, he'd dunk it easily. Tough, on-ball defender, gets in you, he'll guard you full court. He's a one-man press when he wants to be, and just can get to the rim. But those three dudes right there had an attitude for winning. There's different attitudes. Like, everybody can't coach a kid with attitude, but I think there's kids that just have bad attitudes and the kids that have an attitude for winning.
Got you.
Attitude for winning means that you're going to do whatever you have to do to win, and it affects you. It makes you angry when you're losing. So how do you funnel that? And a lot of kids have a hard way of don't know how to funnel it, so it looks like they have a bad attitude. But it's really an attitude for winning. And those three guys had that, and I think that's what helped us big time last year. Was they were so competitive that they didn't want to lose. They battled and they fought, and they brought the other guys along with them, basically. So now we had moments where we had issues with the attitude for winning in practices, so we had to go out to the track a couple times, but we learned how to funnel it, and they did a good job. But those are the type of guys that we've had that made us successful. And then I think going into this year with Jello leaving, it's a different type of vibe with the team. It's more laid back, but they work really hard and they really like each other. You've got guys, like I said, Charlie has been a great leader since Jello's left. He's been front and center for everything. He calls me and we talk about things we want to do with the team. We do a lot of team bonding stuff, like we'll do team barbecues. We do bowling. It's just trying to build the bond. You have Isaiah and Marcos. They transferred in last year. They look like they should be playing linebacker on the football team. They're just big, strong boys that can play basketball. Then, like I said, you got Gavin Garrard, who's our unsung quiet leader. He's Gavin's right-hand man, Gavin is Charlie's right-hand man. But they're like two peas in the pod. Gavin doesn't talk much, but he plays hard. He can get buckets. You look up, he have 20 points. You wouldn't even realize it because he doesn't say anything. Then their third wheel with them is Charlie Grebbing, who's about 6'4", 6'5". He doesn't like to shoot much, even though he can. He rather play defense and rebound. So I'm trying to get him to come out of his shell and score more because he's capable of it. He just rather do the dirty work. But I tell him, we're going to need you to be a threat because people aren't going to guard you. And the thing is, I know you can knock down shots. So, and then we have Trey. We call him is Kuya, Treyu. He's going to be very good. I don't like to compare people to people, but he gives me Boogie vibes because of his confidence and just he's really, really crafty with the ball. I don't think he's going to get as big as Boogie, but he can shoot the ball, he can score. He's got a great personality, really friendly, happy kid, and just really skilled. So we've got a good group of guys. I'm trying to make sure I don't leave anybody out. Who else? Gavin, Charlie. Oh, Thomas. We have our one senior, which is Thomas. I've had Thomas. Thomas has been around me since 5th grade.
Wow.
Yeah, he was in SDA as a 5th grader years ago, and just he's been there. Thomas about 6'4", quiet, trying to get him to come out of his shell. He's capable of doing way more than he does. He's happy with doing the dirty work or being in the background. I told him, I said, no, you're going to have to be a scorer this year. You're going to have to be a leader. You're going to have to do more. He just works his butt off. So with him, and he holds a place in my heart because he's been with me for so long. Doesn't talk much, but just hard-working, great kid. He's like the glue to the team. He's everybody's best friend, and there's nothing he won't do for anybody. So we got a good group. I'm excited for this year because, like I said, it was funny. I had a talk with Full Time, and he was telling people, oh, you know, Mission Bay will be okay. They might be top 20 this year. And I was like, really? I said, Aaron, come on now. You know every year we do better than we're supposed to. I said, so you're not giving me no love this year? And he's like, we'll see. So then after the summer and the spring, he's like, okay, you might be, I got to give you a little bit of credit. So I was like, no, the boys worked their butts off. And like I said, it's the culture. And they've gravitated to it because they know, they've seen it. They've seen it firsthand that there's no substitute for hard work. And the old saying is what hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. And that's what we look at. It's like, but we have talent.
Right.
It might be unknown talent, but I look at it as when Chris and KJ came over to Mission Bay, nobody really knew who they were. They worked their butts off, and they blew up. I mean, look at those guys. KJ had a great year this year, so did Chris. And I think he got started that year there at Mission Bay when they started to come over there and they were rolling. I mean, they both made all-league.
I agree.
Chris got an offer. I don't understand why he hasn't got more because the boy can play. And then the same thing with KJ. KJ was our silent assassin. I mean, with him, Jello, and Chris, we had a three-headed monster. It's funny, I was talking to Jury and this past weekend, and I was like, you know, if those guys didn't leave, we were coming for you guys. It would have been a great CIF championship. And he was like, we still would have got you guys. I said, I don't know, it would have been a tough one, though. I said, it would have been fun, though. So, and it's funny because Chris was sitting there, too, and Chris just kind of looked at him like,
yeah.
But no, it was good. And, I mean, they're tough. I mean, Saints is going to be tough again this year, too.
I agree with you, man. I like Jurian is, I mean, in my opinion, he was the best player in San Diego last year, and he's one of my favorite players.
Yes.
But, yeah, I said it in Jello's interview, you know, when we had it just recently. I had you guys winning CIF. Between how well the Gonzalez brothers were playing, Jello and his leadership, and then we don't know the steps that all Rami and all those other guys are going to take, but they made great strides. And just imagine the season you guys had, but then add the Gonzalez boys to that. I had you guys winning the Open. I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with that.
I don't want to say
I had you guys winning the Open.
That I had us winning, but we were confident that we'd have a good opportunity. We knew Saints is going to be tough and San Isidro is going to be tough. But we liked our odds. It would have been fun. It would just suck that we didn't get to play it out. But, everything happens the way it should. The way I look at it, God doesn't make mistakes. And we still had a great year. And like I said, Saints did a great job. And San Isidro, Terry does a great job down there as well. So, I mean, this is going to be a fun year to see out of those two. I'm excited to see how that shakes out. Because those two are by far, I mean, don't count out LaCasa because Coach does a great job there with those guys, and they're always in the hunt and battling. So, I mean, and then, I mean, I don't want to count. There's a lot of good teams. I mean, you know, you have 1A and 1B with San Isidro and Saints. But there's other teams that are still out there that can make some noise that might surprise some people.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of San Isidro, again, your best player, the leader of your team, Jello, left to go play at San Isidro. And I know, Coach, you guys got the next man up mentality and all that, but I know you had to be upset when you get that news. Where are you when you got the news, and how do you get that news that Jello is going to be transferring out?
So, Jello's dad texted me and said he wanted to give me a call. I was like, sure. That's fine. And he had already kind of disenrolled from school. He was doing homeschooling the last month or so of school. So he was doing homeschooling because he doesn't live close to Mission Bay. And so kind of right there, it's kind of like, is everything okay? And they're, oh, no, everything's fine. Okay, cool. And he still plays in the club and to this day. So everything's fine. So then he was like, hey, can we talk? I was like, sure. So he gives me a call, and he's like, hey, me and Jello want to talk to you. And they say, you know, we appreciate everything you've done. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, well, you know, we have opportunity. I said, well, they break it down and tell me about it or whatever. I'm like, well, you got to do what's best for you. I said, I totally understand that, and you've given me a lot of good years. And I said, you know, I never get mad at anybody that's doing something that's best for themselves. And the way you're letting me know, you're talking to me about it, and I got to support you. My thing is, I'm never going to go against anything that's going to help somebody. If a kid has opportunity to play on that stage, you can't say no. I mean, and especially for him, it's going to help his recruiting. I mean, everybody knows who he is. There's been no stones unturned on making sure scouts know who he is. I think what's hurt him is the transfer portal, because I've talked to a bunch of coaches, and they're like, oh, we like him, but I think I was talking to what's my guy at Santa Clara? Oh man, I'm getting old. I can't even remember. I've got a picture. Oh my God, it just jumped in my head, just jumped back out. But I'm talking to my guy, and he's telling me, well, this is the mindset now. Is like, why would we take a high school kid when we can get a guy that's already proven himself in D1 that's averaging 15 points a game or so, and then, they've already transferred, so once they transfer, they're locked in for the next 3 years or so. Or we can get a high school kid that might not, and they're not saying this is him, that might not pan out or might not want to stay here, and they leave. So he said it's easier right now to go through the transfer portal, and that's kind of how it is. Everybody's getting pushed down. So you've got guys that are D1 going D2, D2 going D3, JUCO, or guys that are in JUCO, and now you better take these offers because they're slimming down on everything. So I think that's what's hurting him, is because I've helped a lot of kids get to college, and he's good enough to play D1 basketball. He has the toughness, he has the mindset, he has the skill, he has the work ethic, he has all the tools to play at that level. It's just that the timing. The transfer portal is in full effect. We could use USC for example. I think USC had 5 kids leave and 5 new kids come. So, and that's a lot of schools. I think Memphis had 6 leave and 6 come. So, I mean, that's all around the country, where I think it's like 40% of the kids are in the transfer portal, jumping from school to school, trying to find the right fit or whatever, or the best opportunity. So it's affecting the high school kids not getting the opportunity to play at that level. So I think that it falls on him because he's by far good enough to play at that level. So.
Do you think the transfer portal is done more negative than positive? Or do you think it's more of a negative thing than a positive thing?
I think...
I'm not sure how I feel about it yet.
And see, with me, I'm a high school coach, so I don't like it. It's negative for our kids because it's hurting them. It's holding them back, and I think it's a good 3 to 4 years before it gets cleared up because of COVID and all the extra years they've given guys, so that's just made it worse. But I think it's tough for the high school kids. I think for the college kids, this just shows that you need to really do your homework before you choose where you're going to college, because if all these kids are transferring, you didn't make a good choice when you chose where you're going to school. You went to the name for the name, and you didn't investigate your fit, your opportunity, or the style. So now it's not working, so you're leaving. Because if these kids had did that, they wouldn't be moving like this.
True.
So,
I hear you. Do you watch more college or more NBA basketball?
College.
Yeah.
The college season, my TV is on ESPN the whole time. I only watch the NBA during the playoffs because they don't play hard, and it's too showy for me. Whereas I like college, and I might pick up a new player or something I like that fits our team. So actually what I do during the season is I know there's a game every night on ESPN. If it's a good game, I'll tell the guys they need to watch the game. They got to do a review on it for me. So the point guard has to give me a review on the point guard, the 2 guard, and so forth and so on. So they have to watch that game. They got to tell me the final score, the score of each half, so that I know they're watching it. And then they got to break down the game on why that team that won, and why the team that lost, and what they took from the game and what they think was the tide that turned the game for that team.
Nice.
So it's kind of, I tell them, you learn from college basketball. That's where you want to go, so you learn from watching where you're trying to go. So I try to have those guys watch these games so they can learn.
How long have you been doing that?
Since I've been there.
Nice.
I've been doing it for a while. But Boogie and them, they liked watching film, so we watched them all the time, so it's easy with them. The newer guys don't like to really watch, but now they do because they're starting to understand why. So it's not even really a fight. And like I said, we have group chats, so I'll give them assignments on, I might even send them, some type of inspirational video to watch and tell them to write me a 200-word thing on why had you watch this, what you got of it, and what it was about, just to kind of pique their mind. So.
My sophomore year when I was playing JV, our head coach on JV, Coach Mike, I forget his last name, but we did our end of the season banquet at his house, and we wanted to watch basketball, and someone put the NBA on. He got pissed off. He's like, no, we don't turn on the NBA in this house. We only watch college basketball in this house. We're like, Coach, why? He's like, because they don't even play real basketball in the NBA anymore.
It's not. It sets a bad tone because all it is screening rolls and picking pops, and that's not going to cut it at our level, and that's not how college is played. College, you have to be able to run sets, you got to know defenses, you got to be able to read, you got to understand what you're looking for, and in the NBA, it's just the best talent goes to work, basically. So I tell the guys, you're looking at the NBA, you're not going to be able to play that way in high school, and you're really not going to play that way in college. I said, you'll have a guy that's in college that averages 10 points a game, they'll go to the NBA that averages 30 a game because now it's more open and it's more based on talent, whereas in college it's about the sets, what you're trying to accomplish and the game plan. So
very smart and very important that you do that, because I don't think a lot of high school players, even the ones that are extremely talented, they got all the moves and they can shoot it from everywhere, I don't think they understand a lot of times what college coaches are looking for.
Right.
And I say that because I remember speaking to a scout, and I guess I won't say what school or like when it was, but I was speaking to a scout. Actually, it was myself, a scout, and a high school coach. A college scout and a high school coach and myself were talking. And the scout was saying, he was like, whenever a coach comes to me saying like, oh, I got a guard, I ask 3 questions. He says, I ask, can he play in the pick and roll? Does he jump stop in the lane? And can he knock down the open shot? And I've, like, when I say that to guards, that conversation, that scout, the things that the scout is looking for, he was like, really? Jump stop in the lane? And I was like, yeah, bro. Like, and it blew my mind. And I didn't even play college ball. I played a little bit of junior college basketball, and I know that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, you want to play at the next level, but you don't know what you need to be doing at the next level.
And another to add on to that is that actually, can you guard in a bubble? So that's basically, can you stand in front of your man and play defense for 3 to 5 seconds without him blowing by you getting a layup? Can you play defense? Because if you can't guard your position, how are you going to play that position?
True.
And that's one of the biggest things they look at, is that if I can't guard a point guard, how am I going to play point guard? And I tell kids all the time, like I'd have a kid, oh, well, I'm a 2 guard. You're 6'7", and you can't guard me, so how you can guard a 2 guard? And it's funny because I had a kid like that years ago. I won't say the kid's name, but he played at Sarah, and good player for San Diego, but he thought he was a 2 guard. Kid's about 6'5", and we're playing against Branch West back in the time, and it's Bob Galby's coaching. He has a 6'7" 2 guard. I forget the kid's name, but he could go. And I said, well, you're 6'5", he's 6'7". He just had 30 on you. You had 2, and he scored every time he wanted to, off the dribble, going to the basket. I said, so he's going D1. I said, so you're saying you're a D1 player. You don't look like a D1 player today. And it clicked because he's like, I was like, so if you can't guard that type of guy, how can you play at that next level? And that's what a lot of kids don't understand, is that if you can't guard your position, you can't play that position at the next level. So.
How do you, and this question just came to me now, with you being, you know, like you've helped a lot of kids get to college, do you have to motivate? So there's not every kid has the same goals. Not every kid is going to play in college.
Right.
Not every kid is like Boogie, who's going to make it to the NBA, and not every kid wants to.
True.
What do you have to find different ways to motivate kids that have different goals? Because I would imagine a guy like Boogie, who's like, I'm gonna be a pro one day. It's like he's going hard all the time. And then there's another kid who's like, I enjoy playing basketball and I'm gonna play while I'm in high school.
Right.
It's 2 very different approaches.
Well, we have some of those guys now, and the biggest thing is it's about the camaraderie. It's about the team goal. It's about, that's why we do a lot of team bonding stuff, so that we know you don't plan on playing college, but this is memories you're going to have for a lifetime. You're going to be these guys' friends for probably a long time. You might go to each other's weddings or whatever. You want to be able to have memories to talk about how you won this championship or this game, that game. And so it's kind of like you don't want to let your brother down. And so, you know, if he has these goals, he needs you to help him succeed. And these are things you're going to have that you're going to be able to talk about with your kids, your grandkids. And so it's about the memories you're setting. And the thing is, why do something if you're not going to go 100%? And if you're not trying to do what the team is trying to do, why be on this team?
Right.
So they all buy into that. Like, we have a kid like that, where we have like Charlie G, who's a very smart kid, but he's going to be like an engineer or something. But he's a good basketball player too. But he's also one of our hardest working players on the team. Like, he comes in first in all our sprints on the track, and he's got like a really tough mentality about him, which is why I like him, because he doesn't take any crap from anybody. But you would think that why does he go so hard when he's not even worried about playing college basketball? But it's in his DNA. It's who he is. And the thing is, he's playing for his brothers, and so he takes pride in that. And they all don't want to let each other down. So I think that's another thing of why we've been successful, because guys play for each other, not just for themselves. And I think that's what helps us overachieve at times. So.
Absolutely. That shows with your team for sure. Absolutely. You guys definitely got like a real like family feel going, even down to like your trainers that help, like when guys fall down and get hurt, just like the people at the snack bar, like everybody. It's a real, you guys got a real like camaraderie, good family thing.
It's family oriented. Like, we have a really good core of parents that like I said, we've had some kids that have been in our program since 5th grade, so those parents know that they learn from the other parents and they'll pass it down. We still have parents that kids graduate that still come back and help us for like our Battle at the Bay or our Thanksgiving term we started last year, where they'll come and work and they'll help us organize because they're just part of the family. We've had the same yoga lady, her son graduated years ago, and she still comes and does yoga with us. It's just that's the atmosphere we have. It's family oriented. It's about the kids and just being a part of something. And I've been really lucky that we've had that atmosphere of having good parents, good players, and just good people that want to be involved with trying to help the kids.
Absolutely, that's dope. So now you mentioned the Battle of the Bay. You've done it 4 years now.
This will be the 5th year.
This will be the 5th year.
Yeah.
How do you what was kind of the motivation for starting that, and how do you choose what teams play in that?
When we first started the Battle of the Bay, it was kind of supposed to be like the ACC versus Big Ten challenge. So what it was the Western League versus the Coastal League, which were the two best teams back then. So you had like us playing Foothills, you had Country Day playing La Jolla, and so forth and so on, and they were great games. But then as our league is, Western League is always the top league. I mean, once again, you got us, Saints Cathedral, San Diego High, Hoover's moved in now, and Patrick Henry. I think, yeah, it's the 16 now. But every year it's a war. Every night you're gonna have to go to war. So it's like, but the Coastal League's gone down a little bit. It's not what it used to be. They're still solid. Don't get me wrong. But Parker's gonna be down a little bit. I think Mason's gonna build them back up. He'll do a good job over there. DJ was doing a great job over at Country Day. So it's sorry to see him go, but he's got a great gig up at Windward. Then who else? You got Foothills. It hasn't been the same since Brad left. I mean, they're working, so hopefully they'll get it back. But it's not the same, so the league versus league isn't really cutting it anymore.
Got you.
So it became more of, okay, let me see if I can get the top teams. And what I've done is I wanted to kind of help set up playoffs. So that's why we do it that last weekend before that last league week, so that it affects the playoffs. So that, okay, say you have like us and we don't play like a team, say Carlsbad League. So, but we're, say both teams are very good and like they win their league, we win our league, and okay, let's have them play to see if they're really as good as they say they are, or if one of these teams just has a bad league or whatever. So we try to balance it out like that, and then I try to set up storylines for like the games. Like, do we have like with us? We played Modern Day last year,
right?
Obviously, because it was
had two guys leave to that school.
Exactly.
Right,
so there was kind of a story behind it.
And so I remember the year before, was it the point guard? He left Parker and went to was it Sledge? Was it Derek? No.
No, it was
I remember that though.
Christian.
There you go.
Christian. It was his little brother's still at Parker because he played for us too. But yeah, that was a matchup. So I try to make it like a soap opera where it's like a drama and okay, there's something behind the game.
A little bit of bad blood,
exactly, or just we want to play them. Like I already have we already have all the teams locked in. So now the coaches are kind of telling me why they want to play each other. Or certain teams told me they don't want to play certain people, but I've got some coaches requesting to play other teams because they wouldn't respond to them. So I kind of look at it and, okay, what's going to be a good match? So as we get closer to the season, I can kind of look at it and see, okay, these teams are going to be really good. Like, we usually get all the top teams. Like, last year I think we had 8 of the top 10 teams. Yeah. This year we have another good core of teams. We'll have 7 games again. So we'll have all Cathedral, Mission Bay, Torrey Pines. We always have the top teams in it, so it's always a good show. So I look for, and it's a great day of basketball. So, nice. And then what we did last year, when we started our Thanksgiving tournament, kind of trying to build that up. I don't think it'll get as big as Torrey Pines' Christmas tournament. That's been going forever. But I realized there wasn't nothing really, really big in Thanksgiving to start the season off. So last year we did our tournament and went really well. So this year we expanded it. So we'll have, and it's JV and varsity. What I try to do is have the JV and the varsity play each other that same day, but at separate times, morning and night. We'll expand it. We're going to have to use 2 gyms this year. We'll have 12 JV, 12 varsity. And we got some pretty good teams in it, so it'll be good, again, to give you something to do that Thanksgiving week. Because Thanksgiving, you got the one day, but then after that, you're kind of bored.
Yeah, for sure.
So last year, the gym was always packed. We had good games. I think we ended up losing to San Marcos in the championship. They kind of kicked our butts a little bit. We hadn't really got all our stuff together, so they kind of slipping. And Devin can go. He was a tough matchup for us. So.
I remember that game. He closed that game like a closer. That was very impressive. It was very impressive. It was, I'm glad I had you in here, man. It's been a few weeks trying to set this up, but I've said that to a few guests, but I feel like it happened at a perfect time. It's a great conversation. I learned a lot about you today, man.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having me. I think you do a great job with San Diego basketball and your coverage, and you're pure about what you're doing. There's no motives. You just want to get the kids out there, and like I said, it is a good time. I'm happy I came on. I appreciate you having me. So
thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. My guy. It's been another episode of On the Mic with Michael Flix. I appreciate you guys tapping in, man. Until next time, take care.